Today, I'm sharing with you. Every family hopes for a steady flow of wealth, having a treasure trove, but how can a family accumulate wealth? Many families, everyone has an income, but money just can't stay. In order to keep wealth, buying houses and cars has become the norm, some even buy several houses, waiting for appreciation. Reality hits us hard. With more houses, they become less valuable, cars become second-hand once acquired, and eventually scrapped. There's also a possibility after buying a house, the family becomes heavily indebted, driving luxury cars but not even having money for gas. It's just vanity, thinking that driving is prestigious. Wealth comes in two forms, tangible and intangible. Cars, houses, clothes, and pants are all tangible wealth, and to acquire tangible wealth, you must possess intangible wealth. Whether a family accumulates wealth, don't just look at houses and cars, consider the following things. 1. Prosperous mindset. What does a family aim to earn, quick money or slow money? Most people prefer quick money. If they can hit a jackpot, even better. There's a rural saying, many is not as good as few, few is not as good as idle. Getting money quickly is the key, no suspense, and no labor is lost. So, many people like those daily wage jobs. Getting paid daily without delays solves the immediate food problem. As a middle-aged man, you should think, why is it hard to get ahead even with a daily income of $300 or $400 on construction sites? Because there are days with work and days without. Plus, during rest times, playing cards, wandering, loafing around, they spend the money they earned a few days ago. Middle-aged man, you're a father, the backbone of the family. If your stature is not enough, the family's image will be short. A father's mindset is too small, solving today's difficulties, tomorrow's difficulties come again, so the family remains in constant hardship. The issue of money always persists. Smart people don't earn money quickly, but they create sources of income. Water flows abundantly like a spring, available at all times. Accumulating over time will turn into rivers and seas. In my hometown, in the 70s and 80s, to become a carpenter, you had to apprentice for 3 years. After that, apprentices could work independently, using their skills to support their families, earning more than the average person, and gaining more respect. Learning a skill, finding a stable job, choosing an industry to specialize in, opening a shop, doing logistics, etc. Once you make a name for yourself, not only do you become wealthy, but your descendants can inherit it too. You won't worry about making money anymore. There's a saying, where your eyes see is vision, where your heart sees is mindset. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. What should the family look like? This is the hope of the family, and the path to prosperity. Good families need to take one step and see 10 steps ahead, rather than just getting by. A family plants trees for 10 years, and raises children for 100 years. Previous generations plant trees, and future generations enjoy the shade. Making money becomes much smoother. 2. Education leads to wealth. Where does money come from? From sweat, from skills. Ultimately, to earn more money, you must read more. Gorky said, the more I read, the more books make me closer to the world, and life becomes brighter and more meaningful to me. If you handle reading well, you'll find ways to wealth naturally. Perhaps when young people enter college, they don't know how to make big money yet, but with more reading, finding a job becomes easier. They adapt to positions in society faster. Their minds become more agile. Unconsciously, they outperform others. In 2003, a news story about a Peking University graduate selling meat by installment shocked society like a nuclear bomb, triggering huge controversies. Many students said, "What's the point of getting into Peking University?" In the end, we still become meat sellers. People started to think that studying was useless. But years later, people found out he had opened chain stores, established breeding bases in Hainan, Guangdong, Guangxi, and other places, with a production value of up to $1.8 billion. Regarding his choice back then, he said, "If I didn't go to Peking University, I could still sell pork well, open 2 or 3 stores, live a worry-free life." Indeed, in the same market, people who read more have lofty ideals, taking it as a starting point rather than the end point. On the other hand, people who read less lack courage. They may spend their whole lives in the market. Don't think that this isn't accumulating wealth. Children not learning from bad examples or ruining the family. From another perspective, it is accumulating wealth. 3. Health protects wealth. Living in a villa, having a luxury car to drive, but lacking a healthy body, probably won't lead to happiness either. What's even more tragic is when someone ends up in the hospital, spending a lot of money, easily costing hundreds of thousands. For ordinary families, if one person is chronically ill, the family's income will be consumed. If an elderly person gets sick, the children have to temporarily put aside their work, taking care of the elderly, spending money while having no income. This is the beginning of debt. Health is a person's real estate. A healthy family is a blessing. Putting material desires aside, exercising, reducing overtime, not exhausting the body, is balancing tangible and intangible wealth. Usually, a family can calmly discuss matters. This is mental health. Even if there are unpleasant things, they can be resolved quickly, without holding grudges. 4. Generosity attracts wealth. My grandfather was always a ferryman at the village pier. Back then, my grandfather's income was low, just a few cents per person. In the 90s, I went to the city alone to study. A shop owner handed me a bag of snacks, said, "You're so-and-so's grandson, take these." It turned out the shop owner used to be a peddler, and had taken my grandfather's boat many times. One day, the shop owner's goods got wet in the rain, and he ran out of money. My grandfather gave him a free ride. One good deed deserves another. This principle, we must realize it spans generations. Good deeds may not be immediately rewarded, but they will establish the family's image and benefit future generations. Having kind elders in the family accumulates blessings for descendants. Having kind children is the true passing on of the family's legacy. Having kind middle-aged people is accumulating social connections. As the ancients said, good virtue can carry heavy loads. A family with good morals, even if it gains unjust wealth, it's the beginning of downfall. Money, no matter how much, is useless. Money can change fate if it's earned through proper means, and keep evil spirits away if it's used wisely. Check if your family is doing these things mentioned above. If not, there's still time to correct them. As parents, educate yourself to read more. Lead by example in reading. Create a scholarly atmosphere at home. Don't just force children to read, guide them too. As grandparents, help your grandchildren more when you're free, and help those around you. Having an elder in the family is like having a treasure. As children, continue the good family traditions. Understand the hardships of adults. If you find adults doing something wrong, point it out. As members of society, integrate into society. Don't resent it. A family is like a drop of water. Society is the ocean. A drop of water in the ocean can become a wave and be preserved. Manage your own family well, create wealth, and you'll never lack money. Fearlessness of wealth at home. Inability to save money 8 or 9 times out of 10, it's due to these problems. 5. Disharmony among family members. I believe many have heard the saying, a harmonious family brings prosperity, but not everyone understands its meaning. If they truly did, they wouldn't argue with family members often. Family harmony is indeed very important. In a warm and harmonious family, adults can work more peacefully, and children can study better. Especially for a child's growth, personality shaping is very important. If the family is not harmonious, and family members often quarrel, everyone's mood won't be good for a short time, but in the long run, it may affect work, and mistakes may occur due to a bad mood at work, or even major accidents due to distraction. Since everyone can't work peacefully, how can they earn money to support the family? As for saving money, it's even harder. In the long run, if family members often argue, the days will only get poorer and poorer. This will also dissipate a lot of energy, until everyone is tired, then the family will basically be destroyed. 6. Lack of financial management, spending money recklessly. If there's someone in your family who loves spending money recklessly, then no matter how much money you earn, it won't be enough. Because the more you earn, the more you spend, and the spending will only increase over time. The speed of earning money can never catch up with the speed of spending money. Some people don't understand the hardships of earning money, or even if they know, they don't know how to manage money properly. Spending money is always uncontrolled, especially when spending money. They seek the pleasure and excitement of spending, but spending money is enjoyable for a moment. After spending, it becomes difficult. If spending money is just for immediate pleasure, ignoring the old and not caring about the young, if every dollar earned in the family is spent, then as long as one person in such a family appears, don't expect to save any money. 7. Having bad habits. Don't underestimate some bad habits. Their harm is very great. In the short term, you may not see much, but over time, the harm is enormous. Take gambling, for example. Many people start out just for entertainment, to pass the time, but once addicted, it becomes unstoppable. Throughout history, how many people, even with a fortune at home, ended up with nothing in the end? If you've read To Live, the rich young master in it started out with a wealthy family, didn't he? But in the end, the family was destroyed. It can be said that habits like gambling, drugs, etc., should never be touched. Once you get involved, even if you have a fortune at home, sooner or later, it will be lost. 8. Having someone in the family who falls ill. There's a saying, man proposes, God disposes. Life is full of uncertainties. If it's a minor illness, it's not a big deal, but if someone in the family gets seriously ill, it really is like money flowing like water. Around us, we should occasionally hear about families becoming impoverished due to illness, because once someone falls ill, not only can they not earn money for the family, but they also have to spend a lot of money. One person gets sick, it can drag down the whole family. It's not a joke. What's feared is when someone gets seriously ill, even if you give your all, even if you bear heavy burdens, the money is spent, but the person cannot be saved. Even some minor illnesses, what's most feared is chronic diseases. It's like an endless pit. You have to keep throwing money in. Once an ordinary family has someone fall ill, then forget about accumulating wealth. Just not having to bear heavy debts would be good enough.